Hi everyone, good morning. Today is 24th of February and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's session, we are going to cover all these particular articles. Here the list for the articles that we are going to cover for the mains is given. These articles we are going to cover for the prelims, and with respect to the mapping we are going to cover Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kenya and Mount Revenzori. Now all these particular articles will cover Hindu newspaper as well as articles from other sources such as PIB, Indian Express, etc. have also been taken. Now, this particular session is intended to be your one-stop solution for your daily current affairs needs. Also, guys, in this particular session, we are going to cover a quotation specifically for our essay and answer writing. And also what we are going to do, we are going to take current affair based MCQ questions which are important for your practice, and these current affair questions you can attempt on our Telegram channel in a quiz format. Link for Telegram is given in the description box in YouTube. Just you can visit the Telegram from there, from the link, and can join the Telegram channel. This entire PDF will also be available on Telegram channel for download. So let's start with the session. First of all, guys, as we talk about the quotation, so we are going to take quotation from Mahatma Gandhi ji. So Gandhi ji says, to lose patience is to lose battle. To lose patience is to lose battle. One's sense of composed temperament is very much important for sound decision making. And for sound decision making and composed temperament, patience is very much important. Patience has even been referred to as virtue, uh, as a virtue by the virtue ethicist. So, guys, this particular quotation you can use for your GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Also, you can use it for essay paper. So that is all, guys, about it. And now let's start with the first article for the today. So the first article for today that we have is NB8 visit to India focuses on cooperation and trust. Okay. Now this particular article we are going to see with respect to the GS paper number 2, India and India's relations with the foreign countries. India and India's relations with the foreign country, IR section we are going to take. Let's get started with this particular topic. Now, first of all, you need to know some basics. You need to know some background information. Now, first of all, what is this NB8 countries? What is this NB8 countries? Now, guys, when we talk about the NB8 countries includes Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Iceland, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Sweden. Okay, so when we talk about the NB8, so NB8 stands for Nordic Baltic countries. It stands for the Nordic Baltic countries. Okay, now actually what has happened recently, Raisina dialogue was conducted in New Delhi. Already we have covered Raisina dialogue. So Raisina dialogue, it is an annual think tank event which is conducted by Observer Research Foundation as well as Ministry of External Affairs. And in Raisina dialogue, state dignitaries, people from think tank, experts, civil society leaders, etc. They come and they discussed on geopolitical issues. They discussed on to the geopolitical issues. This particular year, Rise in a Dialogue, fine, Chaturang was the theme. Chaturang was the theme for this year's Rise in a Dialogue. Now, basically what has happened, these leaders of these NB8 countries, all of them has written this particular article. All of them has written this particular article. And they are actually talking about that on what points India and Nordic Baltic countries converge. Okay, on what particular theme, on what particular themes they are further looking for cooperation. Okay, they have also given their position with respect to the Russia Ukraine war. So this is their point of view with respect to the India Nordic Baltic countries relation. So let's get started with this. Also, guys, you can see here that we have also introduced the mind map initiative, in which every article will be given you in the text form as it was given earlier, but also we are going to provide you the mind maps because these mind maps can give you a lot of compressed information in less time. So basically, these NB8 countries, what are the core issues that they have raised in this particular article? So number one, they say this particular thing that India and Nordic countries, they converge on the front of values. They converge onto the front of values. And democratic values are the ones which bind the India and Nordic Baltic countries. Also, innovation and human rights. All these countries as well as India give a very much importance. And they are further looking the cooperation with India, and specifically in which direction they are looking for cooperation. In innovation, they are looking for more cooperation. There are many advanced technologies that European countries, particularly Nordic Baltic countries can give to India, which can help India to transition towards a high income group country. Then green transition. Now guys, what actually has happened around the world, countries are moving from coal, from the traditional non renewable energies to the renewable energies. India even has taken the target that by 2070, India will attain the carbon neutrality. And for carbon neutrality, we need to deploy renewable energy. We need to move away from carbon based technologies, coal, etc. In this green transition, these Nordic Baltic countries can help because they are moving in a very good direction towards the carbon neutrality. Then in the maritime security, we can find certain common grounds. And then in the health technologies, health initiatives, the good practices can be exchanged. So these are the areas in which the Nordic Baltic countries are further trying to promote the cooperation with the India. Then the next issue that has been raised in this particular article is that they have specifically discussed about the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and it has been provided that Nordic Baltic countries, they have a united stand against the aggression. Okay, and what they do, they say that basically this particular aggression, now they say that Russia is the one who is the rule breaker, and they say that international law has been broken by Russia. Ukraine is a sovereign country. Ukraine is a sovereign country. Okay, and basically Russia, now see, Ukraine was looking forward to join the NATO. Now, joining a NATO is Ukraine's sovereign decision. They are a sovereign country. They can do that particular thing. Now, Russia has invaded the Ukraine, which is the violation of UN Charter, international law. Their sovereignty has been broken down. And they say that rule-based order will be threatened. Rule-based order will be threatened. And because of the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, global food and energy security will also be threatened. Why? Because when we talk about Ukraine, Ukraine has been referred to as the bread basket of the Europe. And because of Ukraine war is going on, there is a food security challenges that have come in the Ukraine. So food challenges will be there. Then guys, the energy security challenges will also come because what is actually happening as Russia war is going on. Now see this thing, Europe is dependent on Russia for natural gas. But because sanctions have been imposed on Russia, and because they ideologically don't align with the Russia, they are basically energy cooperation has also been broken down. Now, in all this particular thing, Ukraine has given the peace formula. So 10-step peace formula has been promoted by the Zelensky in Ukraine. They say that we are looking for comprehensive peace. 10 conditions they have been given. For example, there should be the humanitarian trial of the Russians, okay, who had killed the people. Okay, they say that there should be the adherence of United Nations Charter, UN Charter by the Russia. So such 10 conditions they have been given. No need to go too much in that detail. Then they say that Russia should adhere to the international law and uh, should also be prepared to ensure that how the concerns of energy and food security can be solved. Okay, now what can be way forward in this particular direction? What can be way forward in this particular direction? So guys, the way forward is to enhance the dialogue and cooperation. It is to enhance the dialogue and cooperation, and here the dialogue and cooperation between the West as well as Russia, okay, needs to be taken up. Okay, upholding of international law, tackling the security threats, sustainability. Okay, focusing on sustain. Now this is on that front of the economic trade. Okay, and then further, so this is the Russia Ukraine war, and further as India and Nordic Baltic countries is there, we need to continue strengthening our partnership in the areas of development, health, green transition, digitalization. Okay, and they also want support for the Ukraine, international backing, diplomatic efforts they want for the Ukraine, and they are looking forward that India will help them. India will help them. So this is guys all about this particular article. And now moving to the next article. Okay, so guys, in the text form, all this information I have provided you here. Also, you can just download this particular synoptic notes. Then moving to next article. changing the growth paradigm. Changing the growth paradigm. Now, this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3, issues related to economy. Issues related to economy. Okay. Now, basically, let's understand first of all the context of this particular article. Context of this particular article. So, what has happened recently? RBI governor has highlighted this particular thing to the finance minister that we are focusing too much on economic growth. We are looking that where the GDP is going on. Okay, we are so much concerned with respect to the GDP growth that we are actually not taking care of human development. We are not understanding that whether it is desirable or not. Economic growth is not equal to human growth. Economic development is not equal to sustainable development only. Though development is broad than the growth, but still sustainability is something that we need to focus upon. Now, guys, we find this particular thing. Okay, now we find this particular thing that when we try to see the economic well-being of a nation through GDP, fine, there are limitations. So there is limitation of GDP in measuring the economic health. A minute. Yes. Now, what type of limitations are there? What type of limitations are there? Let's understand this thing. Okay. India's economic size has been increased in the last few years. If you see post 1991 LPG reforms that came, because of these LPG reforms, India's economic size has been increased. But does that mean that economic well-being of India has increased? No. Why? Because, guys, what has happened because of this particular growth? Inequality has come. Rich have become more rich, poor and become more poor. Inequality has come. Also, what has happened, there is many other challenges that have come, we are going to discuss. So because of growth bringing inequality, we don't need this kind of a growth pattern. Rather, what we need inclusive and sustainable growth, sustainable development. That type of growth which, rather than increasing inequality, should bring parity. Now, basically, what are the core issues that have been mentioned in this particular article? Number one, guys, they are saying this particular thing, that economic health and GDP relation they are talking about. Economically, GDP has improved, but there is a lack of job creation, jobless growth. This is a keyword often which has been used. Inequality gap has been increased. And here we have Oxfam report which has said that particularly after the pandemic, even more inequality has come. Okay. Next thing is that, guys, actually what is happening, we have all these particular concerns, but rather than that, still there is the consistent focus on GDP growth only since 1991. Up till now we did not got much of the result, but still we are focusing on to the consistent focus on GDP growth. Now, apart from that, we are not looking forward to many other challenges that has come. For example, apart from inequality, apart from the jobless growth, there is also the climate change challenge that has been there. Still, there is a huge reliance on the fossil fuels. Okay, reliance on the fossil fuels that is there. But we are not looking forward for the sustainable ways. And as India uses too much of the fossil fuels, it has become a challenge in the climate negotiations also. Developed countries, often they say that developing countries such as India, they are using too much of coal, carbon fuels, fine. So that has also been an issue. Now, guys, Vaclav Smell has given Vaclav Smell writes this particular thing, that actually what is happening, there is a role of fossil fuel in economy. Fossil fuels, coal can provide you cheap electricity. So there is a important role of fossil fuel in economy. But at the same time, they are polluting. Okay. And because you are dependent on fossil fuel for your economic development, it is always very much difficult to transition from these fossil fuels. Because see, these fossil fuels are giving us economic growth. And you say that leave these fossil fuels and go to some other renewable energy, which might be not cheap, it will be expensive. Okay. So this transition difficulty will always be there. So what way forward is there? What way forward is there? What we need to ensure? Number one, there is a need of a new paradigm of progress. There is a new paradigm of progress. Progress should not only be measured by the GDP. Rather, progress should be measured by the inclusiveness that it is bringing, sustainability that is bringing. Okay, we need to move away. We need to move away from the urbanization and industrialization. We say that only marker of development is that how much population is becoming urbanized, how much industrial activity is happening. So, new paradigm of progress is inclusive sustainable growth, and moving away from industrialization and urbanization is a parameter of growth. Move away from that. Local system solutions are needed. Focus on Gandhian principles. Now guys, what is Gandhian principle? So Gandhian principle gave a lot of importance on the village republics, cottage industries. He gave a lot of importance to those kind of industries which employ large number of manpower. So they say that Gandhian principles of village republic, cottage industry, okay, top to bottom approach, bottom to top approach needs to be given a lot of population. Leverage rural population. There is a lot of poverty. Okay, and there's a need to revisit the economic theories. Okay, move beyond the Western economic theories and look for the solutions which are specifically tailored for India. Look for the solutions which are specifically tailored for India. So that is all, guys, about this particular article. And all these things in the text form also have been provided here. You can see that mind map is also there. Whatever is your level of comfort, you can just go through that. Moving on to the next article. So we have this particular article, X factor. X factor. Now this particular article we are going to see with respect to the GS paper number 2, role of social media. Role of social media. Fine. Role of social media and GS2, GS3 both. Okay, and how government is curbing the role of social media by issuing the prohibiting, banning orders. So let's get started with this particular article. Okay. So basically, guys, what has happened? There are huge internet shutdowns and social media shutdowns and requests to block the social media handles that have been raised by the government in the past. So internet shutdown is a very big issue. Right now, farmers protest is So right now, you already might be knowing that the farmer protest is going on. And as farmer protest is going on for a very long period of time in the regions of Haryana, there is internet shutdown that is there. Also, on social media, government issue the directives that they need to block certain handles, they need to remove certain posts, etc. Okay. So basically, farmer protest is going on, and because of that, internet has been suspended. Also, it has been said that the present BJP led state governments, they are the ones who have issued a lot of orders with respect to internet suspension, as well as social media platforms. They are also asking to block certain posts which are not going in line with the government. Okay, so what is the core issue? Core issue is that internet shutdowns are arbitrary, without showing any concrete evidence. The internet is being getting shut down. Okay, non adherence to the proportionality test. Now guys, what is the proportionality test? So understand this particular thing. Anuradha Bhasin case. Anuradha Bhasin case. So Anuradha Bhasin case provided this particular thing, that right to internet is a part of the fundamental right. Right to internet is the part of the fundamental right. I have given here in the handout also, don't worry. So Anuradha Bhasin case was there. Okay, now Anuradha Bhasin case provided that right to internet is a fundamental right, and it need not to be suspended as a usual exercise. You need to conduct a proportionality test. For example, you are suspending the internet. By suspending the internet, what result you will get? So the result that you get and the cost is suspending the internet. So suspending the internet is the cost, result that you are getting is the end. So the cost is justifying the result. Whatever you get, is that justiciable on the basis of the internet suspension? Is there any other alternative way? Okay, so proportionality test is there. The union government, but what they have done, neither they are following proportionality test nor they are giving the concrete evidence why they're suspending the internet. So their approach is to issue the notice to the social media companies to block the social media accounts of certain people, certain leader. Now when we talk about the Twitter, which is now become X, Twitter's role after the Elon Musk has also changed. What has changed? Actually, they have ceased publishing the transparency reports. Earlier, they used to publish transparency reports with respect to that how many government requests were sent to them with respect to suspension of accounts and posts. how many of them they have acted, how many of they have challenged, all these things, the transparency reports they used to publish, but now they are not publishing such transparency reports. And now there is increased compliance with the government report by the Twitter, though there is one order that has been challenged in the Karnataka High Court. Karnataka High Court, it has been challenged, but still the role of Twitter is now getting changed. Okay, now what can be way forward to deal with these particular problems? What can be the way forward to deal with this particular problem? Number one, there is a need to give more legal clarity with respect to parameters when internet can be suspended down. It should not be the case that whenever you want, you will suspend the internet. There should be parameters that, okay, on this ground, this ground, this ground, this ground, the internet can be suspended. So there is a need of a legal clarity, and judicial oversight needs to be there. In fact, if legislature is not coming, then judiciary should come out with some kind of a rule. Now, as one of a case is going on in the Karnataka High Court, this can be an opportunity to give more clarity that when internet can be suspended down. Then there is needs to be more transparency and accountability by the government. Okay, government should inform the citizens that what is the objective that they are trying to achieve by suspending the internet, and they should show accountability to the people. At the same time, government should always be promoting the free speech as the first thing. National security is very important, for which the internet has to be suspended down, but the rights of the people are also very much important. So you have to promote a balance between security, national security, and the freedom of speech, fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression. And then there is a need of engagement and dialogue. Carry an engagement, carry a dialogue with the civil societies, social media companies, and come out with a detailed guidelines for protecting the free speech. So this is, guys, all about this particular article. I hope that we have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Okay, so the next article that we have here is the gray zone warfare. Gray zone warfare, latest entry in lexicon of warfare. So what has happened recently? The CDS, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Anil Chauhan, has talked about the gray zone warfare and say that this gray zone warfare is a new terminology that is being popularized because of the interventions of the China in the South China Sea, as well as because of the intervention of China in the LAC region, line of actual control region. So let's understand that what is this gray zone warfare? What is this gray zone warfare? Okay, so let's understand this gray zone warfare. So basically guys, what actually happened? What actually happened? So China, what it is doing? It is deliberately, it is China, what it is doing? It is deliberately creating tensions in the South China Sea. Okay, it is picking up the disputes with the countries such as Philippines. China then is taking up the disputes with the Indias in the northern border, particularly around the LAC, line of actual control. And because of this strategy of the China, Chief of Defense Staff, General Anil Chauhan, has emphasized on the gray zone warfare. Gray zone warfare. He has emphasized. Now, what is this gray zone warfare? What is the definition of gray zone warfare? So, this is a strategy by a country. This is a strategy by a country to carry the military confrontation with the other country, but below a particular threshold that will invite a military action. Now, guys, see this particular thing that if China will carry a full-fledged expedition in India, if China will send full-fledged troops in India, LAC, beyond the LAC, what will happen? India will also repulse back. War will start. But there are small skirmishes. There are small disputes that are being raised by the China, with which we will also not be going on with the war. So you do such activities which will not invite a full-fledged war. Just let's say this is the threshold, the line that I'm making is a threshold. If you do anything beyond it, the war will start. So the country will not cross this line. They will carry the skirmishes, they will carry the confrontation beyond this particular threshold. And in a long term, what they will do? In a long term, what they will do? They will try to gain a dominance. So this is a long-term strategy. Now, because of this thing, a global reaction has been created. Now, China is doing it in South China Sea. It is doing it with the India. What has happened? The countries are looking for the alliances. And if we take the example of India, India-US collaboration has increased because of the China. And what is happening because of that is this India-US collaboration. We are now collaborating on a defense technology with the USA. Okay. So actually, it is leading to the increased global cooperation. Fine. Military exercises, technology transfer, etc. are happening. Organizations such as the Quad are coming up. Now, to deal with this, what are the way forward? What are the suggestions? What are the way forward? What are the suggestions? Number one way forward is that we need to embrace modern technologies in warfare, so that the China gets deterred. Okay, so we need to invest in modern technologies. Okay, advanced weaponry, not that we are going to use, but to deter the China. We need to strengthen international alliances more. Okay, uh, exercises, agreements, because again it is going to deter the China. Preserve the global commons. Okay, so sovereignty, global common resources, they are needed to be protected, and there needs to be more information sharing and collaboration with the countries who are like-minded with India. So this is something that is to be done. So guys, I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Center amends surrogacy rules allow couples to use donor gametes. Center amends surrogacy rules allow couple to use donor gametes. This is going to be a very important article for GS paper number 2, social justice. Social justice and related issues. So let's get started with it. Okay. Now, so basically guys, what has happened? Government has come out with the amendment to surrogacy rules 2022. Now, first of all, guys, what is surrogacy? Let's understand this in very simple terms. Suppose there is a person, Mr. X, and Mr. X's wife is their wife. They both are trying to conceive a child, but they are not able to conceive a child. For example, why? Because the uterus of the women is not fit to carry a pregnancy. They have tried the pregnancy. Okay, they have also used the methods such as the in vitro fertilization, but some understand this thing, that the women's uterus, if it is not hospitable, this women cannot conceive a pregnancy. So what arrangement they can do? What arrangement they can do? They can approach some other women. They can approach some other women, the third women, and they ask this third women that you please help us conceiving a child. So what will be done? What will be done? The sperm of the husband and the eggs of the wife, they will be fertilized. They will be fertilized through IVF, in vitro fertilization. In a petri dish, they will be fertilized, and these fertilized egg will be placed in this woman's body. It will be placed in this woman's body, and she will become the surrogate mother. She will become the surrogate mother. Now, guys, what actually happened with the coming of the Surrogacy Act? Surrogacy Act. India, number one, said that commercial surrogacy is not allowed. Commercial surrogacy is not allowed. You cannot appoint a woman to be a surrogate mother just by giving her the money. Only altruistic surrogacy is allowed. Only altruistic surrogacy is allowed. Means anyone who is willing to become a surrogate mother just out of love, altruism. So close relatives and acquaintances can only become the surrogate mother. Commercial surrogacy got banned. Along with that, there were some other changes also came in the surrogacy. And the changes was this that earlier what used to happen, if if a couple is taking the if a couple is going to take the surrogacy service, the third women, they can only the surrogate mother in in her, only the sperms and eggs of the intended parents can be implanted. Let me explain you. So I told you that husband and wife cannot conceive the child. They are looking for the service of third other women. They are looking for the service of a third woman. Now it is compulsory that the sperm of the husband and the eggs of this wife have to be used. What if the sperm is not potent? Can they take the sperm of some other donor? Fine. Can they take the sperm of some other donor? Earlier it was not allowed. Only the intending parents, their sperm and their eggs were allowed. Okay. But now what has happened? There is a regulatory shift that has come. Center government has now amended these old surrogacy rules. They have amended this old surrogacy rules. Now, what they have allowed, what is the change? They have allowed the use of the donor gametes. Some third person's egg can be used, eggs and sperms can be used. Earlier, Earlier, the gametes or the sperms and eggs from the intended parents were to be used, but now they can be allowed to use the donor gametes. So one gamete from the couple, husband, wife, and one from the donor is allowed. Okay, so if a sperm is by husband, then the eggs by some other woman is allowed. If the eggs is by the wife, then the sperm by some other man is allowed. Inclusion of single women. Single women are now eligible for the surrogacy. Single women are now eligible for the surrogacy. Earlier, they were not allowed. So these are the two changes that have come. Now, why these two changes have come? Why these two changes have come? It is because of the Supreme Court's involvement. Supreme Court in the past has said that our surrogacy rules need to be more inclusive, and adhering to that, this particular thing has happened. Now, what will be the implication of this? Implication will be the broad accessibility. Now more individuals will be able to get the surrogacy, because guys, women might not be able to host the pregnancy, but the husband's sperms were also not potent enough, or the wife's eggs were also not potent enough, so many individuals were not able to get the benefit of surrogacy. Now they will get. Okay, also single mothers will get the surrogacy, but it might have the legal and social recognition. A single mother, fine, let's say she has raised a child by surrogacy, let's say she never got married, and he has got a child. So whether the social acceptance will be there or not, okay, what will be the ethical issues that will come. Okay, so reproductive autonomy of women have been recognized by giving these particular rights, this particular right. So this is something. Now guys, as a matter of way forward, there needs to be the continuous review of this particular rules, and if they are fruitful, they should be continued, and it should be searched at how more better such updations can be brought. Awareness and education, make people aware. Awareness and education, make people aware about this particular new rule that have been brought, and support mechanisms, fine, should be given to the surrogates, intending parents, so that they can take this particular services advantage without any problem, without any obstacle. So that is all guys about it. Now moving on to the next article. US made spacecraft lands on moon. So this particular development we are going to see with respect to the prelims examination. So actually guys, what has happened, 52 years after the Apollo mission that was launched, which landed on the moon, now what has happened, a private company's spacecraft has also landed on the moon. So the Odysseus spacecraft, which was built by the Odysseus probe, which was built by the Intuitive Machines, it has landed on the moon. And for launching, it has used the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. Now, this is the part of the USA's Artemis program. Artemis program. Now, under the Artemis program, US wants to return on the moon in a significant way. And as a part of this particular Artemis program, what is happening? The USA is also supporting the private and commercial space agencies to carry the space launches. And for that, there is a commercial lunar payload service initiative that has been taken up under the Artemis, which is promoting the private and commercial companies to take up the moon launches. Now, guys, when we talk about India, India is also further privatizing the space sector, and in that, New Space India Limited, Indian Space Association has been started. These are two of the dedicated organizations which will help the private sector's participation in space. So basically, what will happen? First of all, New Space India Limited, it will provide the manufacturing, leasing support, will provide technological platforms. Fine. Okay. Indian Space Association, what it is doing? It is further also going to promote the private sector's participation in the space. Apart from that, there is the Antrix Corporation. Antrix Corporation is the commercial wing of ISRO. So basically, guys, if anybody wants to take the service of ISRO, let's say if a private company wants to launch the satellite, they can take the services of ISRO, and for that, Antrix is a dedicated agency. And also, guys, for the space, SEED, that is Space Entrepreneurship and Enterprise Development Program, has also been started. What is this SEED? SEED, it is a initiative where the MSMEs will be encouraged that they make products, that they make component for the ISRO. So this is guys all the related information. For prelims examination, these kind of things are asked. So please keep it in mind. Now moving to the next article. Okay. Raksha Mantri, Defense Minister and Netherlands Defense Ministers meet. So basically, guys, what has happened? Meet between the Defense Minister of India and the Netherlands Defense Minister has happened. And here, important things that you need to see. is that some of the initiatives have been mentioned. That is important. Now, what are the discussion topics? Discussion topics are largely are largely the bilateral defense cooperation, maritime cooperation, industrial cooperation. Okay. Then also what is there? Also what is there? There is the focus on maritime security in the Indian Ocean region. Okay. Integration of Indian vendors. So Indian Defense Minister, what they suggested, that Dutch original equipment manufacturers, okay, should integrate Indian vendors in their supply chain. Find the components they should procure from India. Okay. Then guys, here there are certain initiatives. Fine. Now here guys, there are some data with respect to the India Netherlands relation. So just please download the PDF and see this particular data. Fine. Now largely this data is to be used for mains examination GS paper number 2. So please you can take down the data or can download the synoptic notes. Diplomatic relations started in 1947, so in the year of independence. So 75 years already happened in 2022. Okay. Then the Netherlands is the fourth largest trading partner in Europe. Okay. The cumulative FDI from Netherlands is around $43.75 billion. And what are the exports? Petroleum products, telecom instrument, electronic instrument. Fine. And a fast track mechanisms for Dutch investments in India has also been started so that this FDI, it can be increased. Now guys, Lotus HR project is going on. What is Lotus HR project that has been started? For urban sewage treatment challenges. So here the Netherlands is going to give us the technology. Diwali platform for solving the water challenges. Joint agriculture working group. Okay. Health cooperation will be there. So these are all the things that have come. Now moving on to the next article. Groundwater contamination. So basically, guys, what has happened recently, National Green Tribunal (NGT) it has issued the directive to the Central Groundwater Authority (CGWA) for controlling the for their ineffective control of arsenic and fluoride contamination in the groundwater. So CGWA has been criticized by the NG2. So National Green Tribunal, it is a statutory body created in 2010 and it is responsible for the environmental conservation. Also, it issues directives with respect to the pollution. Now, basically, NGT says that the CGWA has given a very generic response. They have not solved the problem of arsenic contamination. Today, around 230 districts are have facing the arsenic contamination. Okay, and at the same time, fluoride contamination is there in 469 districts. Okay, and there is no focus on installation of arsenic and fluoride removal plants, though so many warnings have been given. Okay, now when we talk about the arsenic, it leads to skin lesions, cancer, cardiovascular disease, neurological disease. And when we talk about the fluoride, it leads to dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis, neurological effects, thyroid dysfunctioning. Okay, so these things are needed to be focused now. And now, guys, taking upon the mapping. So today in the mapping, we are going to discuss the Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kenya, and Mount Ravensori. Why? Because recently, according to a study published, it has been provided that glaciers on the Ravensori mountain, Kenya mountain, and Kilimanjaro, they are getting lost and they will be vanished. They will be vanished in the time soon. They will be disappeared in the times soon because glaciers are melting at so fast rate. So where these particular mountains are located? First of all, Mount Kilimanjaro. Now, Mount Kilimanjaro is located in the Tanzania. You can see here in the map here, the Mount Kilimanjaro is located, that is in the Tanzania. Okay, Tanzania. Tanzania is in Africa. Now, it is situated within the Kilimanjaro National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site also, Okay. Now, after that, basically, what this Mount Kilimanjaro, it is a dormant stratovolcano, fine, having three cones, that is the Kibo, Mawezi, Shira. No need to go too much in too much detail. Now, Mount Kilimanjaro, it also holds a significance for the local Chaga community. Then next is Mount Kenya. So Mount Kenya is located into the Kenya, as the name suggests. Okay, it is in the Kenya, and it is the second highest peak in Africa. Again, it is the extinct volcano located where? Into the Mount Kenya National Park. And this park also is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So keep it in mind, very important, can be asked in the examination. And local Kikuyu community, okay, holds has a cultural significance. Then Mount Ravenzori. So Mount Ravenzori, it is on the border region. So it is shared between Uganda and the DRC, and it is also a part of the Ravenzori Mountain National Park. Okay, fine. And this Mount Ravenzori, it is culturally very important for Bokanzo and Bamba people. Okay, so here you can see that here on the border of Uganda and DRC, Ravenzori range is there. Okay, so that is all guys about it. And with this, we come to an end to the session. Now, guys, we'll be meeting tomorrow, on Monday. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.